Are we going to go all over that again?
Now it might say live.
I don't know. Let's see, shall we?
Yeah, see how much Darrell can screw this crap up.
Aw, don't be so hard on yourself, honey.
You said hard on.
E20 for you, man. It's all right.
We got you back.
If anybody is currently watching, we're 29 seconds into 10 minutes of episode that we just did.
Yeah.
Like we can go over a lot of that again, I guess. That's all right.
I'm trying to. I did it the way I normally do it.
Well, just because you do it the same way every time doesn't mean it makes her happy, all right? I'm just saying.
Well, then she should stop lying to me. She said good boy and even gave me a cookie.
I did.
So if we're starting to get in 1 minute in, I will say to anyone who listens or chimes into this here in a bit, we were just doing 10 minutes worth of podcast. We are gonna hit it again here in a second, but give us a second while we do
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. It should be live recording and it should be streaming. And it says it's streaming.
Is anybody there?
No, there's nobody there.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it streaming and we're not getting any views, so.
I'm not seeing it either.
So, hey, if anybody is seeing this and somehow we're not, please send me a text or something real quick.
Or
because otherwise we're
PM me, because I'm looking.
Start her over here or something. Or we'll just record it and post it and you guys can watch it later.
Yeah, I can do that, no problem.
I'm checking the ConCast chats to see if anybody said, I can see you guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, although I could easily see people I advertised in Big River, so people were asking about it this week, so I could see them chiming in. Hopefully, if not, they're a bunch of liars. But,
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll just go ahead and put it on later.
So, all right. So
that takes the pressure off us. We can just have fun. We don't have to worry about watching the chats, and we can just talk about what went on. But it also means we also have to be self-conscious because usually we are aware that other people are watching, so we moderate what we say and we save the colorful verbiage for when we're off camera. We have to make sure we do not use that colorful language. You know what the fuck I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. So we need to go over everything we just went over 10 minutes. We should just start. Let's start like we haven't seen each other. How's that?
Great. I bought lots of 80s crap this weekend. You'd be proud. I spent so much of Darrell's money. It's pathetic and sad.
Yeah, it is.
Here we are. To my left is my wife, Christy, who went to Big River with us this weekend. And over there on the other screen,
on my right is I've lost so much after that accident. Is my wife Jessica, and she is the spender of my money at ICT Comic Con, which is really big now. Which we talked about how big ICT Comic Con has gotten, and now it's really good that it's gotten big because that makes it so the new big out of town festivals that are hired guns, festivals that are funded from overseas people won't take over our Comic-Con space and our ICT space and our anime space and our Ren Fair space.
I felt like we said it so much better earlier, and that was like this was the monotone auto call version right there. Where they're like, "What? Please vote for."
Welcome to our podcast.
As you said that, all I could think was, "We're coming for your cons."
You're taking our cons.
They're taking our cons, man.
ICT has doubled in size, and that makes us happy in the sense that we are getting a lot of out of big investment cons, or the Walmart cons that'll eventually take over the world. But they come in and they split their guarantees with their artists and stuff, or they make package deals with vendors in order to be at multiple cons, and then pretty soon they run all the smaller cons out, and it's a rough thing that just happens a lot, and Wichita has become a target lately for it. So you're always happy to see that one of the local cons is, we
need to start a ground root movement, ground. We need to start a movement for this con. When it comes up, we need to start spreading the word. Don't go.
Yeah, don't go to that con.
And I hate to do it because that's not fair to all those vendors and stuff that have signed up, you know?
It's those vendors that knew what they were doing. All right, you don't feel sorry for the stormtroopers when they signed up with the Empire. Okay,
that's the problem though. Those stormtroopers all have a backstory. Every damn one of them. One of them
I don't care how many plumbers they hired to make the Death Star, Randall. All right.
Well, fair enough. But yeah, I don't ever want to encourage people not to go to an event. I just want people to be aware of the situation so they can make their own decisions. Because you know, I go perform at big events all the time, and I'm cool with that. But I do tend to stick to the smaller ones because they treat you better. You know,
I would prefer to see a smaller one grow to a bigger one than have a bigger one come rolling in. I would prefer to see a Planet Comic Con grow to be a local big thing than to have, you know, Bob's Con come in, you know, that is all funded by, you know, Korean or Chinese money.
Yeah, but there's that delicate balance in there because even like Big River is out when it started 10 years ago, it was just in a little parking lot. I mean, the thing was the property that my house sits on is much larger than what the con was. And it's not like I got a huge property. It's just a little bitty con. And now it is the world's largest outdoor steampunk event. I'd hate people to go like, oh, don't go to that one because, you know.
Well, hold on. No, that's the other way around.
Huh.
Go to that one because it's a local con.
Yes.
Yeah, but some people might look at it as that big, you know.
No, like I said, we have to spread the word, the fact of this thing coming in is not a local con.
Right.
All right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing is we got to let them know it's not a local con. Go to your mom and pop store. Stop going to Dollar General.
Or best, just listen to us. Just do everything we say all the time. That's what we are. If we say go. If they don't go, don't go. And then
just the tip.
So, and I did start off earlier when we had done multiple minutes. The other one was that you'll have to forgive us a little bit. We are exhausted. We literally have been gone for a week because we towed our pirate ship down to Missouri. We helped set up the con. Then we ran. It was a 4-day event, and then we spent a day driving back. So the exhaustion is real. Yeah.
Speaking of wineries.
Speaking of wineries, winery for this weekend, but go ahead.
Part of the order of stuff that I ordered did not go, so I'm going to have to reorder that. So what Gabe brought in for the next brew is not all of what we ordered, so I'm going to have to reorder some of it. Hey, look, we talked about the winery.
Well,
sponsorship.
Okay. And this weekend anytime you have a 4-day event like that, there's always hiccups. So when we had the concert on Sunday night, the bar had to leave early because they lost some help. So they didn't have enough people to run the bar. And I felt very bad for the people in there watching the concert, had nothing to drink. So I was like, I've got some wine I'd brought for people out there. So I'll just go grab a couple bottles and I'll just sacrifice a few bottles, fill up glasses, make people happy. And of course, as I do that, people start going, can I buy it? And we're like, can't buy it. Can't buy it.
Can't buy it.
So we gave away a bunch of stuff, but a bunch of people were so happy that when we were leaving, there was just tips galore sitting there. So,
I'm glad that they tipped you for your service.
Yes.
Even though the tip, just the tip, the tip was not necessary in order for them to get the free sample.
And we got lots of great feedback on how delicious.
Yeah.
We had
a ton of people wanting to order it, and it's like, can't order it yet, but boy, when you come to Wichita here in a few weeks, we'll get you hooked up.
Oh yeah.
Next year, that will be a goal for us.
This weekend, we need to transfer to secondary and start the new batch. So we need to do that this weekend.
The festival literally came up and said, we will buy all the wine you bought from us, put it through our liquor license and all that. And I'm like, it's too late. I've already given it all away.
Next year.
Yeah, it ended up being a really good thing. Yeah. So if nothing else, I guess the winery kind of a little bit.
Free sample that's way into a future gig.
You know what? Sometimes we got to sacrifice a few bottles for that.
Good job. Thank you.
Golf clap.
Anyway, Yeah, and a bunch of people from Riversance were there, and they were like trying to order cases for Riversance. And
Really?
yeah, and I said, I can't do it. And they said, so when's Great Plains? I said, so we can before Riversance. I'm like, so we can just come down and watch you at Great Plains and then bring it to Riversance. I'm like, you can. Let's do that.
Excellent. Yeah, totally. I have not a problem in the world with that. I'll look up to see what time that thing closes for you.
But
don't worry about it.
I worry about it.
It's iron pills. I can buy it later. Anyway, so you guys had fun at the con.
I've got something like iron.
I could give you a bit of a step-by-step, and we could do geekgasms like normal, but all of our geekgasms are probably going to be con-related.
No.
Mine will be.
Yours won't? Well, let's go ahead and
working on some stuff
before we get into con reviews, I guess.
Con-related, whatever.
Okay. Go ahead, talk about your con stuff. I'm going to load up my other things.
Well, go ahead.
I finally got my coveted She-Ra doll and her horse, finally. And it was like, that's why I said I spent a lot of his money. And then I found somebody who has the castle at their store, so I may end up with the castle too. But,
what store had it by chance, you know?
It's so a couple of the antique malls around here now have like a 80s row at them.
Yeah.
So one of the guys, and maybe it was Mopar, I don't remember.
Mopig.
That's it, Mopig. They have moved into a new space. I should have brought the card over here with me. I'll take a picture of it and share it on the ConCast.
When they moved to a new space, they called me because they saw this sign all lit up when I had it at con. And they're like, we want to sell those signs at the thing too. They're really good supporters of everybody local.
So and in true Darrel smart ass fashion, I was like, I wonder if they have any of my She-Ra stuff this time. And he was like, yeah, I wonder. And he walked up to the very first vendor he walked up to, and he goes, don't suppose you have any She-Ra stuff? And the guy goes, yeah, there's a whole box of it over there. Or something like.
It was actually more asinine than that.
Oh, it was.
Because when the asshole's got to brag about how asshole she was.
She's like, I wonder if that, any shit. They never have any She-Ra stuff. I was like, well, have you asked? Did you even ask them if they have any She-Ra stuff? Well, no. Well, hold on. And I turned around, and said, hey, dude, you got any She-Ra stuff? Yeah, they got a whole bin of it right over there. Boom.
See, and
he's going to have that stuff for a while because it was expensive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's the one that had the really rare collectible Stay Puft I was trying to get. They had this one with the material it was made. They all got terribly sun faded, and there was like a truck accident that destroyed half of them. So the fact he had one, I was excited. And it was $300, and I was like, I'm going to come in as soon as I can go get the money. And it was a couple weeks later, and it was gone.
Dude, this, literally the last several ICTs, I'm a Trekkie. I've walked around looking for Star Trek stuff. Nothing. All right? There was so much Star Trek stuff there.
This was like his mecca.
Literally, they had a whole, original, and I'm not into the toys. You know me, I like making the models. But they had like
a toy and a model. Come on.
They had like the entire play of the Next Generation bridge set. It was this in a huge box, never been opened, collector's edition, the bridge set. They were selling for $600 and stuff like that. And they just had like the other place had like rows of like the original toys that you would buy in the box of the ship and stuff like that, where you push the button, it makes the noises and stuff like that. And they had those for sale. And there were several booths that had stuff like that going on. It blew my mind how much, in comparison to previous events, how much Star Trek stuff was there.
True. I think one of them you pointed out was like, I don't know, phaser maybe. And he was like, oh, if you squeeze the trigger, it doesn't work anymore because it's from the 70s and you can't take it out of the box and like put new batteries in it.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. It's like, it was like a Klingon phaser. And I was like, well, you can't open it up to change the batteries because once you open it up, it's no longer mint in box.
Yep. Yeah, and I have that curse. Every collector has that curse. Sometimes you buy two, one in the box to keep in the box and one to pull out of the box to display, and then
play with.
Yeah,
come. Yes, it is play with.
Yeah, and that the place that has the She-Ra castle, they also had like all these little sets of micro machine things that were from like Star Trek. They had, I don't know, he pointed them out to me, and he was like, "Oh, look, it's all these ships and items."
Yeah, it was like the full Micro Machine, like adversaries and package and stuff like that, where you had all the they're just a little like die-cast model toys and stuff like that. They had literally, and the thing is that as much Star Trek as they had there, that was still just a blip on the amount of crap that they had there of every geek, speciality, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I know. I know they had Ghostbuster stuff there because our group set up there this year, our Ghostbuster group.
There was tons of Ghostbuster stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it frustrated me terribly because I've been trying to get our group to like set up at cons for well over a year now.
No, not them. I'm talking stuff to buy.
Yeah, I know, but that means all my friends in the group went and bought all the good deals, and now I won't be able to.
If they were truly your friends, they would have bought something for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whatever.
I didn't like them. Did you like that beer advent calendar? Thank you.
Well, yes. I did your Star Trek group not set up there this weekend?
Did I what?
Did your Star Trek group not set up there this weekend?
No. There was it asked for booth space too late, which was fine. I went there for a little while and spelled Chris and Alan so they could walk around and she could do a Phantom of the Opera thing, and her and Susan Lambden,
yes,
she went over and did some Phantom of the Opera stuff for her, and Susan loved it so much that she had like an original signed Phantom of the Opera jacket from back in the 80s, signed by like the dude who was like the first Phantom or something like that, and she gave that to Christine.
Wow, yeah. I was waiting for you to go something signed from Star Trek, because she used to write for Star Trek and stuff. So
the TV show. Used to. I did.
Yeah,
she used to do that.
Yeah, she used to. Yeah, she's got some interesting stories.
I was gonna say, if you've ever heard any of her Captain Kirk stories or anything, you should.
No, not Kirk. It was Riker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's had a number of them, but she's got Picard stories and everything else. But the Kirk one's always...
I think it can all be encapsulated with the term "furry little mouse." Anyway.
I did talk about Star Trek this weekend about your guys because I was doing a show with steampunk performer I'd not seen in 10 years. Last I saw her was like in Austin at Aetherfest. If any steampunkers listen to this, you'll know how long ago Aetherfest stopped going. And it was Darwin Prophet. And Darwin Prophet she's a big Star Trek fan.
Yeah.
And she did some Star Trek songs at the concert and stuff. So we geeked to Star Trek a little bit, and I kept going, God, if Darrel were here, you two would be, this would be great. But like, she would love to come on the podcast sometime too.
Yeah, she's really cool. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Closes the date.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
So I was going to ask if there was any other stuff.
My geekgasm was in the intervening time, I finished the model that I was working on. As a matter of fact, I'll share some photos because, with this blurring thing I have going on, it just doesn't do good with the let me see, it should be that one. So
take a picture of it in the dark because I really like the dark.
And there it is with the lights on.
Okay, so for those, of course, that just listen to audio version of this, it's a full lit up Enterprise Next Generation.
No, it's the Enterprise from Star Trek Discovery.
Okay.
With the full lighting kit on it. Oops.
Do not put the...
Sorry.
Hi.
And for the audio version, you didn't get to see the picture of his wife staring
Thank God.
down.
Yeah. Sometimes
like,
when she's mad, I take a picture of her and I go, look, you're pretty. Oh, what's even more fun is, hold on.
When?
What's even more fun is when she's like really mad at me, I'll like, hold on. And I'll take her camera and I'll take a picture of her from my level and I'll show her how she looks when she's mad at me. She looks like a little kid mad at me. It's so fun.
Well, when you got
someday when you see me on the news, you're going to know why.
Yeah, there'll be evidence. But anyway, so I finished off that one and now, let me see, that was the Amazon photos. And now I am, let me see here, working on, remember that little 3-ship set that I was working on, that I said I was going to work on? It's, hand me that box.
Oh.
It's from 1989.
This is where it's hard because pictures never quite do it justice. Yes, yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah. So I've started working on that one, and like it's so tiny, and I'm lighting it, which is a problem. Here is the Klingon D7 at 1/1500th scale, and here is the Romulan bird of prey that I've got wired up.
Can I see that? As he does this, all I can think is from Buffy is grr, arr. Yeah.
But let me see, share. No, not that one. Hold on. It is. Why isn't it on there? Window. Okay. It should be this one. So there it is, open to uplit.
So we're looking at
in my hands.
Yeah, we're looking at the Romulan.
And I even had to the glowy bits on the end are I had to resin print those myself so I could light them and so that they would glow through like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I've wired this way. I'm wiring them all up and getting them all good to go.
So this Model K, it wasn't set up to be wired up, right? You got you're doing this separate.
Gods, no.
Yeah.
No.
Does that just look like one of those just store bought?
Yeah, it is.
Specials from back in the day.
Here's the dish. I mean, here's the saucer section from the Enterprise. It is teeny tiny, and I've got this one lit up, and so they're all going to be lit up. They were definitely not designed to be lit, and they're so small that I'm having to run 30 gauge magnet wire, which is I don't even know if you'll be able to see it on the camera. This stuff right here, it's 30 gauge magnet wire. It's about the size of a human hair. That's what I'm running through it to run power.
Well, I'm going to have you come down. I printed up my entire 1/6 scale Ghostbuster firehouse with all the guys in it and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's all rigged for lighting and stuff, but I'm going to need some help. Because I haven't done lighting in anything that big yet. Everything I've done.
I've even got these that I purchased. These are, in order to run the 3-volt systems through, I wanted to hardwire it in, so I purchased like 5 of these, and these will allow me to plug it into USB, so I can USB in the power source and then run the 3-volt out. That way we don't have to deal with batteries or anything like that.
Oh, wow.
Sweet.
So I've got some of these, if you want one, we can use that to wire it in and do some soldering.
Yeah, I got to sit with a couple of our vendors there at Big River this weekend. We had a number, just like any convention, you got a number of 3D printer booths. And I usually don't always stop because so many of them, it's the same stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I see one that's like, oh, hey, they've done some creative stuff in here, then I'll go in. And there was 2 of them I stopped at. And sometimes you get that little snobbiness, like, oh, well, you got a printer, but you're not as good as the stuff I do. These guys were like open arms, both of them, just come in, hang out, talk. We went to this community, and they were giving me all sorts of pointers. And one of them does it full-time professional. Like, all he does is he goes around doing like seminars and printing stuff. And of course, he was real nice about my starting out, because even though I got these 2 nice Creality printers in here, he's got like 23 printers going at any one time. And
wow.
The printer that I've been telling you that I want, the Anycubic Cobra 3 combo package.
Yeah.
That they've been having on sale for, what was it, like $450?
Yeah, I remember you telling me about this a couple times.
For like yesterday, today, and tomorrow, to celebrate their anniversary, Anycubic, their 9th anniversary. It's on sale even more, down to $379 for that combo package.
Aww.
She keeps telling me to pull the trigger, but I refuse to until I get things reorganized in here, because I don't want to purchase it and just have it in a box and not be able to put it up because I don't have the space.
Yeah, but you get it cheap now, and then
shut up.
Thank
you. Make one
shut up.
Kit, you sell those kits, and then you pay for it. And I'm just saying, that's why I bought mine on Prime Day.
Look, as I enjoyed the fact that you are
enabling you,
the little demon on my left shoulder.
And then just give the little demon on my right shoulder, and then
What was that old joke? This woman goes to the store and she's trying on a dress, all right, and the devil pops up and says, ooh, you should buy that dress. You should buy that dress. And she's like, get thee behind me, demon. and then she hears, "Oh, it looks good from back here too."
No, I hadn't heard that one. Christy, do you have a geekgasm this week, though?
Uh,
No pressure.
I think just
Your
watch
hair. Tell me about your hair, sister.
hair.
That looks awesome.
For what you guys don't know, I just normally have a redhead wife running the house, which is great.
Yeah, but you don't normally have a dreaded redhead.
Okay,
Right.
this is kind of sweet. I'm loving it.
We dread the redhead.
We
Okay.
had the hippy dippy look this weekend for sure.
I did have a hippy dippy vibe this weekend. So I bought these
For Big River years.
for Big River several years ago to try them out and just, try out some dreads without ruining my hair. And I went to put them in 2 years ago, didn't like it. It was pissing me off because it wasn't working right. Oops, excuse me.
You're
So,
Put that shit up.
so I just took them out. So I decided I was taking them with me this year. And Friday, while John, bless his heart, and all the other guys were, at the festival, I took a day to myself in the motel room and I just put them in.
I like
and
them.
I went around and I tried them out and I was having a lot of fun with it. It's just kind of, just kind of fun and I like it.
Yeah,
I
It
even enjoy
is. It's really good. I mean, literally, you sat down. That's the first thing I saw. Is like, oh, she got dreads.
I like
That's
it.
fun.
and not trying to sound like the sappy husband BS, but like the thing gets me. I love it, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's like being with a different woman, isn't it?" And I was like, "That's my problem. It's like being with a different woman. Every time I hug her, I'm touching somebody else's hair, and it feels weird, So
Is it real or synthetic?
Yeah,
It's
they're really
synthetic.
it's
I
Good.
was he
You're not touching somebody else's hair.
No.
That's
Well,
hers.
it's
She
not- it
bought it.
doesn't feel
You're touching
He
her
doesn't
hair.
feel like me, he says,
Yeah.
no.
It's like Eddie Izzard when people back in the day used to ask him, wearing women's dresses. He goes, I'm not wearing women's dresses. I'm wearing my dresses. I paid for them. They're my dresses.
Yeah,
That's your hair. You paid for it.
Right.
It's yours.
Yes. And so I'm having a lot of fun with it. I didn't think too much on how much weight it adds to your hair,
Oh yeah.
to your head. And
Mhm.
and I, of course, instead of getting 2-foot long ones, I got 3-foot long ones, which
Well, go
I
for
knit
broke,
together
girl.
shorter, so they go past my behind.
Go big or go home, right?
All right.
it was kind of weird.
I did put a few of them in like double-ended where they were wrapped from the middle.
Yeah.
Finished them off that way.
Well, yeah. You don't want them all the same length. You want some.
Right.
You want some variation.
So I have a lot of variation of it. So
Yeah.
Good. It looks great. You're rocking it.
The year she first got those and was putting them in was the same year Frankie went and did the Star Wars hotel experience there at Disney World, and the Star Cruiser thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah. The
put
thing
in
that they
for
shut
it
down.
the
Yeah.
same weekend. So it just was kind of weird that they were both doing dreads and you're looking at them both. I mean, it was distance wise, but it just was weird. Like, and I think that was one of the things too of just when they were hurting, it was like, I'll just take them out. We'll try them again later. But 2 years later, shit.
yeah.
Um,
But
What?
Frankie now wants me to put his back in for Big River next year, and
For next year. Okay.
Jen wants to get a pair and wants me to put hers in as well. So
I would just like to have hair.
would you?
Hey, man, I just saw a new study that they're saying people with beards, the beard actually pulls whatever testosterone and shit away and causes you to bald. So if you have a thick, luscious beard, you will have less hair on your head. And I'm
I
like,
have got so much pulled away all the way down my back to my ass. As I tell people, I didn't lose my hair. It migrated.
well,
It's just going south.
we'll have to
Yeah.
get on to reviewing these festivals, but I'm going to do a quick geekgasm because we haven't done it for a couple weeks. So last week I finished printing all of my Terror Dog that I'm working on. So
Mm,
here I'm starting to glue it together. I got a full-size Terror Dog head right here I'm working on.
that
and
is
it'll
just so
be bigger,
huge.
That
but
is
it'll
so
be
cool.
And
Now, is that like half or is that like a third?
this is 1/4 of the face.
So because going to say it's a wide face.
It
It's
gets
supposed to be-
really wide, and then of course you got the horns on the side, and
Mhm.
then it'll be about out to here. So it's going to be good size.
Okay,
and then,
out of curiosity, how many rolls of PLA did you go through on that?
Well, out of ignorance or out of because when I first did it, I asked my son, "Hey, this is the first really, really big print. Like I've done that Slimer and stuff. This really big print I did. Am I doing it right?" It says, and he's showing me like the walls, make sure I did everything right.
Yeah, did you take it up to 4 walls instead of 2?
I did the infill. I started it at 20%. So this is 23 pieces for the head, and I printed about a third of the head before I realized I could take the infill down to like 4% if I needed to. So
those
3 pieces would take 1 full roll. And then once I figured that out, I finished off like the last, 17 pieces on like a roll and a half.
Yeah.
Once I figured out how to figure the infill out.
Yeah.
So
those rocket nozzles I did, those are only at 3% infill.
Yeah.
I mean, but I made sure the walls were thicker like you're doing. I made sure the walls were thicker, but I was trying to lessen the weight because, it's a model rocket and it needs to go up and you want it as light as possible. So that 3% infill.
Yeah.
It is remarkably rigid.
I was hoping to have an example there to show you the infill difference between the two. But as soon as I done that, the roll I had for it, I had so much left. I printed a Casey Jones mask and everybody loved it. So I just started printing everybody Casey Jones masks. People are coming on and visit and go, "Here's a Casey Jones mask for you. And here's one for you." I got 2 more sitting right over here. They're great.
He feels like Oprah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that was one. And then the other Geekgasm actually had to do, the one for this week would be the smoker show we did this weekend at Big River. We do the show, went great. Well, had a good time. We debuted 2 new songs and they worked well. But after we get it all said and done, Frankie informs me that, where we just performed is where Frank Sinatra used to perform when he would come into town. So we got to perform on the same stage as Frank Sinatra. And I always like that because I keep this little diary of all the cool, like I've performed on Teddy Roosevelt's private train where he used to give speeches from, and I've performed on Mark Twain's stage that he used to debut plays on and things like that. Val Kilmer also, yeah. And so then now I can say I've performed on the same stage as Frank Sinatra. Not saying I'm as good as, but just that they are willing to let us be in the same space that is sacred,
I think the closest I've come to that is I've peed in the same bathroom as Flash Gordon. That was it.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
And Eddie Izzard.
And Eddie Izzard. I peed in the same bathroom as Eddie Izzard.
I've had that before where, like, one time I was taking a leak and...
I don't want that to be my thing. I don't want that to be my thing.
Where famous people go.
I don't recall his name. I feel so bad because I'm such a George Romero fan. But the black guy from Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, the original guy?
Yeah, not from Night of the Living Dead, but from Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, okay.
Black line there, or from I'm sorry, from my mind's gone. From Dawn. I'm just talking to this guy. We're just talking about like actually the facility and the lack of cleaning in the facility. And I didn't even look or anything. And I zip up, I turn around, and I see who it is. I'm like, holy shit. And now I'm sitting in the bathroom going, holy shit, to him with his unit in his hand. He's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And so we would just stand in the bathroom and talk for 5 minutes. And it was awkward, but it was cool. I mean, it was
Please tell me you washed your hands.
I did. We washed our hands together and joked about it.
Very good. I mean, of all the times to make sure that you wash your hands, when you're in front of somebody that you idolize, you don't want them leaving going, "That dirty motherfucker didn't even wash his hands."
The biggest smile I've ever seen on Bones' face is we had just interviewed Jason Mewes from Jay and Silent Bob. And Bones is there and he's like, "You guys get to meet the coolest people. This is great." And he was like excited. And so he leaves after the interview and goes into the bathroom. And as he's taking a leak, Jason Mewes just comes into him just doing Jason Mewes talking and shit. And Jamie's like, "I got to hold my dick while Jason Mewes is holding his dick in the same room." And we talked with our dicks in our hands. And he's like, he's excited. He comes out with just, I didn't know any of this was going on. So he just walks out of the bathroom beaming, like smiling so big. I'm like, "What's up?"
Like he found the glory hole.
Yeah. Jason Mewes comes walking out, and all I can think of is he just blew Jason Mewes. I don't know. But
and the great thing is, I would still say Jason Mewes was straight after that.
Yeah, I would.
Bones, not so much.
That same festival Berto was there doing, he does all his photography. And Jason comes up to him at the bar afterwards and goes, "Been watching you, man, taking pictures and all these. You're shooting a porn, right?" Yeah, I mean, like he genuinely thought Berto was there shooting a porn, and then he ended up hanging out with Berto for a while. So,
You thought Birdo was shooting a porn?
well, it's not
he-
far off sometimes.
I was gonna say that's not really far off.
I was gonna say,
What I was gonna say, did he have a lot of his OnlyFans clientele there?
No, he was actually just doing cosplayers. But Berto used to shoot for like Playboy and stuff. So
Oh yeah,
yeah. As a matter of fact, I kind of tracked Berto down a little bit because he used to know Ron Jeremy and stuff pretty well, and Ron Jeremy was in Ghostbusters, and so what I wanted was Ron Jeremy to sign something from Ghostbusters, but with the reputation that man has anymore, nobody really wants to affiliate.
No, that's like saying I really want Bill Cosby to sign my sweater.
It's hard though because for those that can see the pictures here, like right above me is there's Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, all those, trying to get everybody who's ever worked on Ghostbusters anywhere ever, and if I can get that would at least just add to the, I could lose Ron Jeremy in the shuffle somewhere, but just knowing I had it, I would be happy.
I realize you are a completionist, but
Yeah.
that's like saying, you know what, I want to get every letter of hepatitis. No, you don't.
no,
I'm gonna steal that line. Okay. So yeah, geekgasm's away. I'll describe our trip briefly for Big River. I'm gonna try to make this quick. We took the pirate ship, which I did a bunch of restructuring on it. It actually travels real well. The trip back was great. We were doing 60 miles an hour some of the times. We do between 50, 60. It went real well. So now I can take that ship from state to state and things are good. But on the way there, I had asked for help this week because I was so far behind. So I had other people helping, and I'd bought new tires for the ship. And I said, "Hey, could you guys put the new tires on the ship?" Well, to some people, that means put the tire on, don't tighten the lug nuts.
I saw that on Facebook.
So we had, and I will say it was like a godsend kind of thing because we'd been doing like 50 miles an hour down the road. And since I just rebuilt stuff, there was a little wobble, but I thought maybe it was from the rebuild. No, it was because the tire had completely melted through all the lug nuts. So some of the lug nuts were even still in the car, but it had melted holes so big that they just passed right through the lug nuts. So then the axle of the hub was just riding on the rim. So it was almost like you just putting a stick on a rim and just rolling it. And we'd been doing that for many, 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 many miles. And when I went to slow down to turn a corner, everybody's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm watching the tire pass us."
Huh.
So the tire just passed us. We pulled over. We spent 8 hours on the side of the road rebuilding a hub. So I've got a brand new hub on there, and it rolls real nice now. But and the thing was, we had to get down there early enough to set up festival and everything. So we got up the next morning, and we had about 2 hours to set up festival before our first show. And we were setting up. Like I took the TARDIS down there. I took down the pirate ship, of course, all sorts of stuff, stage decorations. Not all of it got up. Took all the flags for the Ren Fair down there and stuff, and it didn't all get set up because of our hiccup. But
the trip back was much nicer and much easier, and Les Frankie, he let us use his truck to do all that. It made it much more
very nice
for everybody.
Yeah,
very nice.
Yeah.
But we get there, and of course, it's 4-day festival, 10th anniversary. We do our morning parade on Saturday, which is one of the big events. It went real well. They came up to me, and I do the opening for it. So they come up to me and said, "Do you want to ride in the Pope Mobile up front?" Which is, for those that know the Steampunk Pope, he's got this big bicycle thing with 4 seats in it and a hot air balloon above, and you ride it down. And so I went up there to lead the parade in that, and they had the mayor really got behind the festival this year. So the mayor comes up, and I gave him my seat on the Pope Mobile. So I went and walked with the pirates so the mayor could have it. But that was also nice because then I got to introduce him on stage. We got the festival going there. For the most part, everything went well. I mean, the only real 2 big hiccups I'd say negative on the festival would be there was some scheduling issues. Some extra schedules had somehow got into circulation. So a lot of people, including performers, weren't sure when the times were. And it got pretty chaotic for a little bit. But luckily, we have a lot of really good performers there that have worked with each other. So we made it work pretty easy. Brought in some new shows, Naughty Bits, for Ren Fair fans that might know them. They're a trapeze act, does Ren Fairs all over. They came in for the first time this year and they rocked it. We had Thawin Mills there, Steampunk Chorus, Totally Lost. We hired Rockabilly Bones and a Black Spot this year for the concert. We had a lot of good talent, a lot of that kind of talent you can throw on a stage and walk away and know people are going to get entertained. We did our show Saturday night, Smoker Show, went great. We debuted a few new songs, but with like the scheduling conflicts and stuff this year, Totally Lost and the Scallywags are going to be jumping in and doing the schedules for next year. So I got to give kudos to the festival for letting the performers and vendors get involved with things and help make the festival better, because then the trust involved is really good and it's appreciated.
It's really you and Jake doing it.
It's really me and Jake. I shouldn't say the Scallywags
Or the Scallywags.
because Jake. Yeah,
I wasn't going to say it.
Jake here in the podcast, and he runs Pirate Fest in Gateway Pirate Festival in St. Louis, and then of course I run a number of festivals, and so we him and I are getting together to rewrite the scheduling for everything,
and allowing the different performers to do things also gives them a sense of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, and sometimes that can be bad, but then again, like I've been there all 10 years, so I've been there longer than people running it, so it's they totally trust me, which is great. And Jake has done nothing but prove himself over the fools. Jake has done nothing but prove himself over the years. He is matter of fact, that you might appreciate this, Ash, because when you join the Wags and it's like, oh, we got somebody with musical talent that can play guitar, and you realize that I have zero musical talent.
In fact, the opposite is a negative musical talent.
And I have zero.
Yeah, you are the musical talent version of Carbon Points. All right.
God, we don't have to get mean, guys. Come on. No, I have no problem admitting that I have issues with that. And unfortunately, we got some guys in our group too that have problems admitting it. I mean, we're not exactly a musical group.
No.
But
and after that first session with you guys of trying to do music, I pivoted hard and started looking up beer songs that you could chant at a bar.
Yes.
And that's what we went with.
That is one of the reasons we do a lot of joke songs.
Mm-hmm.
So all the time I'll go to festivals and we'll be headlining, so people all want to play with you. And other groups will come up and they'll go, no, let's do background music. I'm like, just don't, because it will mess me up. And even sometimes in the middle of a song, then when I turn and go, could you guys stop? Everybody thinks I'm doing a bit. And it's like, no, I genuinely want you to stop. So I've talked to a number of musical acts about this, including Jake from Totally Lost. And Jake comes up to me for a smoker, and he is very nice about it. He's like, I would like to do musical accompaniment. I know your guys' bits enough, and even with these new songs I don't know, I feel I could do this. And I was like, Jake, you know me, man. So tell you what, if I turn and I give you like a serious, let's not do this, just drop it. And he goes, no problem. And I was nervous about it. And we jump in. Not only did he do background music for all our songs, he did ambient music for the whole smoker. And I got so many, and Jake, I hope you watch this, because I got so many compliments from so many people about how well that sounded. And at no point, because instead of me having to try to keep up with somebody's music, he kept up with us. Like, he went at our pace and everything.
The sign of an excellent accompanist.
Yes. And heck, Sunday, I think I told him, anytime you want to jump in, you just have to say, I'm here. So I know you're there. And do it. And
sorry, one of our neighbors who thinks that loud motorcycle makes up for lack of equipment.
You get it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Little dick neighbor right down there.
We did have that problem in one of our shows this weekend where it was a stage next to a street, but it was the final day. It was Monday, the festival. And at that point, they kind of opened up the back street so some of the traffic went by. And we had a couple guys on motorcycles that every time they were like cruising the street, so every time they came behind the stage, they intentionally went, so we'd have to stop the show continuously. So halfway through the show, everybody's starting to be like, sorry about your penis. Because they could all tell I was getting really grumpy, but the audience is saying this stuff. And because I think
John's like, yes.
I started with, let's let this gentleman and his compensation drive by. And then everybody else just started in, and it's kind of nice.
That is good.
All in all, I feel on the spot now, I'm trying to think of the things I want to review on the show. There are things that we didn't quite get to do for the 10th anniversary that everybody wanted to do. We did get to add a Ren Fair to it, like a whole separate Ren Fair down by the river. So you got the 5 blocks of
van down by the river,
which
It says free candy.
doesn't help poor Thalwyn Mills, who is a genius performer, but he shows up in a white windowless van to haul all his gear. So we give him shit all the time. You're in a white windowless van down by the river, man.
Dude, that's what they make shoe. Is it shoe polish? What can you use on a vehicle that it won't mar the paint? Is it shoe polish?
I don't know.
You can do that on windows.
Oh, windows, it's the shoe polish. I mean, but they actually make like stuff you can put on the car, like almost like a whiteboard marker that you can use so it won't mar the paint.
Oh, uh-huh.
And so like you need to get like one of those markers for next year if he shows up again, so you can write free ice cream on the side.
Yeah. See him. Too, one of the things that happened, and I'm pretty sure it's Thalwyn Mills. Thalwyn and I, we are good friends, but we rib each other a lot. And like Friday, they put us, they just, every once in a while, because they know we like performing together, they just randomly, surprisingly put us on stage together. So like, we'll just look at the schedule when we get there, and it's like, oh, we got a show together tonight. Shit, what are we going to do? And since we're doing other shows, you don't always get time to talk. So you're just on stage. So 5 minutes before the show, we're like, what are we doing? And we did an improv show with him, and it went fantastic. And so then he's saying, I got some surprises for you guys tomorrow. And other things happen where it didn't always happen. We show up, but I'm pretty sure, I'm thinking, and if he ends up watching this, during the parade, a random steampunk chicken, somebody, a 6-foot tall guy in a chicken outfit. I felt like Peter Griffin because this chicken was coming after me the whole time. And he had a sign that said like, I didn't lay an egg, I laid Little Beard last night or something like that. I can't remember what it said. And then he's just handing out these eggs with like random little gifts in them. And I couldn't think of who it was. They followed me. And even like as I'm on the stage with the Pope and the mayor and stuff, this chicken just would randomly come up and start messing with me. And I've got hundreds of people in front of me. None of this is scripted. I don't know what's going on. I didn't even think it could have been Thalwyn. I even mentioned Thalwyn couldn't make it to morning opening ceremonies. I get off and I think it might be him. And then everybody else is telling me it is definitely not him. And so right now there is somewhere taunting me out there still is this steampunk chicken who has been chasing me around and promising to mess up my shows. And I keep thinking it's him, but I just don't know. I'm trying to...
Dude, you could have your Peter Griffin moment. You can get into just a knockdown drag out with the chicken.
I want to. And I really kind of hope it's Thalwyn, because then it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good, a
good soft hit fight.
And when we're not on podcast, I will tell you the jokes I wrote specifically to mess with him, but they're rough enough I can't tell them on here.
Oh, please tell me that you mention a cloacia.
Cloacia. No, I don't, but you can help me write one.
Okay.
But all in all, good weekend. It is, if I were to give one suggestion this festival, I'd say let's move it down to 3 days, because it is a lot of work.
That would be a lot. Friday through Monday, that would be a lot.
We did all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and then Monday we go till about 3 o'clock, but then you have tear down and everything. So, and then we have to drive back all day Tuesday.
No.
It can tend to be a lot.
That would be.
That, or we need to look at possibly having half the entertainers there for 2 days and half the entertainers there for another 2 days. But when you got like a riverboat cruise and different things. And I like seeing people like Thomas Bedlam and Sue coming in from Canada and different performers. So that's part of the reason you go there, is because there's all these performers that you get to hang out with and play. But they had more vendors than ever. So it's good to hear that both this event and ICT have both escalated to the sizes that they have. Okay. Are you having to head out?
Yeah, she's got to get dinner going for her and Gannon. They're doing Blue Apron.
So Gannon has been wanting to learn to cook. So we have gotten Blue Apron so he can train on how to cut and chop and slice and actually cook. So
I feel like this might lead into another sponsorship. Let's hope. But
that'd be nice.
It's just Ash was telling me about the Blue Apron and how affordable they are last week, and I was kind of like,
really are.
Christy, and I was like, man, maybe we should look into Blue Apron a little bit because we get to go on so much.
It's affordable for two, but
grab some fast food.
Once you start ramping it up to whole family size,
yeah, like 4. It's I don't know. I need to look.
It's not 4, it's 5 because there's Diego. All right, can't leave Diego.
No, the boys eat by themselves now, so it's just us and one kiddo here. So
yeah, so it would be for 3 or 4. I don't think they do a 3. We were talking about that the other day because when we ordered it, I thought they had a where you could get 3 on it. Darrell says they don't, but now they also do have. Now they also have this thing where it's.
I was saying I don't know. That's all I was saying.
And so
now I got done up.
So you know how he does his like 316 meal prep, and they're pre-made. Well, Blue Apron does pre-made now too.
So you just got to pop them in the microwave, and 2 minutes later you're done.
Yeah,
nice.
Gannon could definitely use the experience in the kitchen, and plus we get to spend like 45 minutes together, and he actually talks during that time.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And they need to get started on it because it's 8 o'clock, and he's got school in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, I'll shoot 8 o'clock, right? I should throw in 2 things real quick because I got to give credit where credit's due on some of this. The 2 of the vendors there that treated us like gold this weekend. And one of them, I can't remember the name of their vending booth, so that's going to drive me nuts. But of course, Zim's Lemonade that we brag about all the time. They got our buddy John Fry, who is an excellent photographer, come in and do a photo. We did a giant group photo, and they have a vending trailer that they are turning into the Scallywags Zim's Lemonade. They're doing like a giant wrap around it, so it's going to have the Scallywags pictures all around this trailer that they're going to be taking to events.
Okay, cool.
Now, you make sure that you get some kickback on that because they're using your luggage.
They have done nothing but kick back to us for years. I haven't paid for a lemonade and these are the ones that we talk about with the big metal cups that is full of fruit so that when you're on stage, you can be eating fresh chunks of pineapple and strawberry and stuff.
I want that. It's so good.
For everybody that's out there, if they watch or listen, I love all my vending friends. Zim's Lemonade is my favorite vendor. I have no problem saying this. Because
I've said that before, though.
They take care of performers. I mean, they care.
They are the best.
All right, I'll shut my mouth.
But
I know, I'm going to go cook. I love you.
Love you.
It was nice to see everybody.
Jess?
The other one was with one of the t-shirt vendors saw the trailer trouble we had. And so they made a bag. They do prints and everything on site. They made Biggin bags for Biggin that you can give, Biggin and his ship and everything on. And then they have a shirt, like they made me one specifically that said, "Hi, I'm Little Beard," and it's got a pirate ship on it. And it says, "I like to drag my anchor," because we're dragging ass and stuff by the time we got there. And the ship is always, hitting dips and stuff. So they thought that would be funny. And so they had them, if anybody wanted to come purchase Biggin bags or Little Beard shirts or anything like that, you could come purchase them. And I thought that was really cool too. So
that's fun.
I always thought that's awesome when even the vendors are playing with us.
Yeah.
Now, I wanted to try to get onto a few geek things that have happened this week. Like apparently the new Joker movie.
Joker do?
Yeah, Folle du, or whatever it is. It's not getting good reviews.
No, I've not seen, because I'm still catching up with the Borderland reviews.
Well, yeah, trust me, dude. The Borderland reviews started in a latrine and ended up in even further
I know.
down from there. Borderlands was bad. Now this one is getting it's getting mixed reviews, but more now. As a matter of fact, I read one review where they said that the Joker's greatest crime was wasting Lady Gaga's talent.
Wow.
I wondered about it. I felt like they were pushing. I felt with the first Joker movie, which I enjoyed. Do not get me wrong. I felt they pushed it a little too much. They tried to take ownership of a character, and to me, it's great that they what they did with it, and I thought that should have been it, because the Joker character, when you change him too much and try to take too much ownership on him, like Jared Leto did, or even the new Batman movie, The Batman, where they had the Joker in the. You're changing him too much. You're changing what we love about a character that's already established.
Yeah.
And once you start going, oh, we're kind of taking ownership of that character, unless you do it better, you need to back off.
Well, and that's like the whole thing with them canceling the Acolyte and all the stuff like that on Star Wars. They tried to take ownership of a franchise and turn it into something that was different from what the people who enjoy the franchise like.
Right. Yeah, and Star Wars in general, that was a hot topic conversation down there this weekend. A lot of people talking about, because there's a lot of people our age there as well, and so we get together and you start talking about it, and everybody just seems to not enjoy Star Wars anymore because of the changes.
There was this point where I was thinking, this was like the last week or the week before, I was like, oh man, I wish we're doing ConCast, because I wanted to bring up this point, and it was just a point that I wanted to bring up to John really quick. And it was, remember how back in the day, after the original trilogy, then the prequel, and we all bitched about how much we hated the prequel.
Yeah.
All right. And, Lucas screwed it all up. Lucas did horrible things. All right. And then he sold it off to Disney. Don't you look back at the Lucas years now and go, God, we didn't know how good we had it.
And in fairness, there's still stuff on that I would go, that wasn't. But yeah. And even some of the stuff Disney's doing, like, I liked Book of Fett. A lot of people don't. I like it a lot. I like Mandalorian. But there's just so much of it I don't like. And the 3 new movies.
Yeah.
Or the last 2, I should say, really.
But hey, on the fun side, on the positive front, I'm sure you heard. Apparently, they've decided they're going to go ahead and make a 4th season of the Orville.
Yes, I did see that, or I heard that. I wasn't sure if there was how much fact there was to that, but
yeah, I've heard it across the board, and it seems like it's a real thing. They're going for season 4 of the Orville, which is just phenomenal in my book.
For things Disney is doing, I had this whole piece of paper full of stuff that D23 had announced. I was like, nope, can't do it all because we're too far behind now.
Yeah.
But they announced so much sequel bait, like just lots of it. And it's all stuff I want to see. I mean, but now run down the list just real quick.
Yeah.
And this isn't even the Marvel stuff. The Marvel stuff's a whole nother thing, but we're getting our Incredibles 3, Toy Story 5, they announced. Of course, the Moana 2 trailer came out. At D23, they announced Zootopia Part 2, showed clips. Frozen Part 3. Inside Out 1.5, so we're making a whole series to go in between the 2 movies.
Still haven't watched either of those.
I've watched the first one. I haven't watched the second one yet. There's a bunch of other stuff. Elios Hoppers, Jude Law did a Skeleton Crew trailer. Andor Season 2 coming out. And then Mandalorian and Grogu, they announced the movie for that. And there was a lot of sequel stuff for 1 year.
Well, and that's
it's not all coming out in 1 year, but
no, it's not. It's all announced right now. It's as if it is reminiscent of when the MCU revealed the different stages.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if you look at the phase map that they
Phases,
do like
yeah.
that, like this year's phase map was sparse. There's a lot of like Fantastic Four coming out next year and the new Daredevil series, but like this year is Deadpool.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder
And
how
Agatha,
much they're going to try to recapture that fire.
they are, and I think Disney's doing good in the sense of, because like one thing I'll say is real classy D23. Ryan Reynolds, like as everybody's doing their promos and the things, Ryan Reynolds did a whole promo just to thank the fans for supporting Deadpool that had already made $1 billion freaking dollars at the box office.
Mhm.
Didn't do shit, but he decided to do a bit just to thank everybody for supporting. Not thank, I mean, he did thank Disney in it, but it was that it's you guys. It's not Disney. It's not us. You guys kept this stuff alive. And I just thought that was classy as hell.
Yeah.
Because what you did get at D23 was other people doing like, oh, well, y'all should really be supporting Avatar. You should really be supporting Ironheart. Or, we had to cancel Blade because of, it's like, no, you had to cancel Blade because you went through 5 writers who didn't give a shit,
Mhm.
That's not the fans doing that shit. If you're changing the stuff the fans love, don't blame it on the fans for not loving it, and the fact he did that, cool. But they're definitely like, they're not releasing much of any movie stuff till like they released their Deadpool the weekend before San Diego Comic Con. Next movie, Fantastic Four, the weekend before San Diego Comic Con, because they know that's when it's going to get the most push, the most free publicity, the most, they're not idiots on that. And I think we're not going to hear a whole lot until then. And then everybody's going to kind of forget about the DEI stuff and all that. It's just going to be like,
they need
New
to.
Marvel.
They need to space it out. I mean, that's one of the things. I was watching this very interesting YouTube channel, and they were, they specialize all in special effects and stuff like that. And they were talking and, did a demonstration of the fact that, one of the reasons, next to, poor writing and all the other stuff like that, one of the reasons a lot of these movies are, not doing good is the special effects. And it's not that the special effects aren't good. It's that the special effects are rushed.
yes.
All right. And they're rushing to get them out, and it's devolving to the lowest bidder, and the lowest bidder is trying to, and it's just, and so if they spread it out more, all right, they spread it out more, and so the artists have the time that they need to work on it because they want to put out a good product.
Right.
Everybody
it's
wants
their
to put out a
reputation on
good
the line,
product.
too. Yeah.
And so if they have the actual time to work on it, it will be much better.
Well,
And so if they space these movies out instead of like they did after the last of the Avengers, where they just deluged us with movie
Right.
after movie after show after
It's
movie.
paycheck after paycheck after paycheck they're pulling in is what they saw. Yeah.
They did not give the production people the time that they needed to put forth a good product. And it also falls back on the producers and stuff like that who looked at products that they rushed, all right, and then looked at half-assed products that they rushed and they made occur, and then looked and said, "That's good, run with it." Never should have done that.
Well, and it was getting so bad they were pulling like studios were pulling designers straight out of college, like not like just graduated college, like pulling them out of school to come start working on things. So these are people that are still
doing
going
that
to
because
school
they burnt everybody else out,
right.
and nobody was willing to work for that anymore. And that's what you do, is you go get the young and the dumb and the people who are willing to sleep under their desk and subsist on cat food, all right, and you get those people in to do it, because I mean it's just like the military. There's a reason that they have an age limit to hire people, to enlist people in the military. It's because once you get to a certain age, you're not going to put up with that shit anymore. All right.
Well, I think about that, like when I was going to school for animation, if a studio would have came up to me and I wasn't ready to do the job, but they said, "Would you come work for us?" I'd go, yes.
Yes, of course you would.
And then, so a lot of these, I can't imagine trying to get into this and not know what you're doing. I mean, that it's almost a detriment to a lot of these poor people who are making this their career, because yeah, sure, they get hired on and that's great, but if they're putting out shit work, that doesn't look great on a resume, you know?
Yeah, it's like, what was it? You know, even though the movie was heralded as a good movie, and it was a pretty good movie, you know, the first Black Panther movie, all right?
Mhm.
I thought that whole fight scene at the end was horrible.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, just the horrible ragdoll effects that they were using. It was just a bad CGI thing that they put together.
Well, now it's one of those scenes where everything in it was CGI.
Yeah.
And if the characters aren't talking, I'm just watching animation at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was almost too much. There needed to be a little, even if there were more moments of the stopping, like, you know, with Iron Man, his mask always gets ripped half off or something. So at least they have a moment where Robert Downey Jr. stops and says something to give that character some personality. You just didn't see that much there.
No,
Yeah.
You didn't. I mean, and even if the mask doesn't get ripped off, you see him inside the mask talking to Jarvis or whatever, and emoting in some way
Yes.
off to the side.
Yeah. That's a good example.
Yeah.
I will say, because two things that they put out at D23 that excited us here. One would be, of course, my granddaughter lives with us, and they announced
put that out?
No,
sorry.
they didn't announce. They had a big promo for the new live action Lilo and Stitch, and everybody got to see the live action Stitch.
That'd be pretty cool.
It's pretty, and it's pretty good. I was going to share it, but you know, we weren't planning on talking about this tonight. They announced that, and then for me, Tron Ares, the new Tron movie coming out, and
I have never been a fan of Tron.
a lot of people are
Tron
not
2
it.
really made me not a fan of Tron.
You know what saved me was Tron. I think I'm going to screw this up. I think it was called Tron Rise. It was an animated series Disney put out with oh god, my mind come blank. It was animated from Lord of the Rings. The main Frodo.
Are you truly digging hard for a name that none of us are going to know? You could throw in any name at this point, and we'd all go, "Oh yeah, I would love his work."
No. You guys are not. He was the main actor in Lord of the Rings trilogy movie. He was the guy.
Lord of the Rings, Ian?
Huh?
Ian McKellen?
No, that was Gandalf.
Which part?
Frodo, the Hobbit that throws the ring into the thing. The guy that the story's about mostly, I think. You know. Yeah, Frodo Baggins. Damn it, my mind's going. Anyhow, he voiced the main character. He was the star of the show.
Elijah Wood.
Thank you. Elijah Wood was the star of that show, and he really carried the whole damn thing. So if you get a chance, watch it. That series is the best thing Tron has ever put out, I think. So I'm very excited that they're jumping forward, because that thing had been canceled a million times, just like Blade. Which I think I kind of wonder, because we were all so surprised with Wesley Snipes coming out in Deadpool as Blade. If now that they've canceled the Blade movie, if we're not going to get a Wesley Snipes Blade back.
No, we should not.
I don't think we should, but I'm wondering if we won't.
I mean, there was that whole joke of, you know, Deadpool looking at Wolverine and telling him you're going to keep this up until you're 90. All right.
Yeah.
No, they shouldn't do that.
They shouldn't do that now. Well,
and Wesley Snipes looks closer to 90 than Hugh Jackman does.
Yeah. Well, I would say, man, that Calverine, I'm fine with Henry Cavill doing Wolverine. I could get behind that shit, but
oh yeah.
On the other hand, Hugh Jackman's still rocking it. There's no reason to get rid of him.
That's especially, I was seeing apparently a lot of Hugh Jackman there. I mean, keep in mind, Hugh Jackman, you know, rocked it out. All right. No doubt about it. But a lot of it wasn't Hugh. That was CGI.
Oh, sure. That's okay.
His costume had full arms on it. Every scene that you see where he has the ripped off arms, that's all CGI.
I don't know if you know this, but like in Deadpool 2, That wasn't really Juggernaut either.
Really?
I'm okay with the CGI.
Well, no, I'm just no. My point being is that Hugh, while Hugh did rock it, he also has a shelf life.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he definitely has a shelf life. It's just if he can still play the character well.
Yeah.
I can get behind that because I mean, like hell, that Deadpool doing the dance scene in the new movie.
Oh yeah, that was somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, I just don't want to, like Trey Parker in Orgasmo, all right, where he does the emoting and then right before the scene they bring in the stunt cock.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, where it's not Hugh Jackman except for close-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
There's times I felt that with some of the Iron Man stuff too, where it's like, oh well, Robert Downey Jr. He hasn't been in the movie for 20 minutes. I've just heard his voice. You know, like you've barely seen, it's all CGI, kind of like we were talking with the Black Panther thing earlier.
Hell, they made a joke about that in the first Spider-Man Homecoming. You're not even in the suit.
Oh yeah. You're not even. That's right. Where it was all remote control.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're at a little over an hour now. We should probably look at tying this up because we got tons of stuff to talk about. We haven't talked to each other in much lately.
We haven't talked to each other in weeks. Let's do a live cast from the winery this weekend.
Maybe we should do that. I know that I want to put a little plug out there, and I'm going to put up a link to this. We have some friends in a podcast called the Recounter Society. They do gaming, all sorts of stuff. A lot more there this weekend.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I apologize for interrupting you. But you're talking about all this, and you're talking about the Ghostbusters and ICT, all right?
Well,
Comic Con, all right? One thing that I saw out there that I saw it and I was like, oh, geez, John and Gabe would be all over this. Somebody had a booth out there where they were selling ghost detecting equipment so you can do your own paranormal stuff.
Oh, I'd be all about that, man.
Yeah, they had their EM scanners and all. I mean, they had different models. Okay, this one over here, I've been able to find, and literally they were selling ghost detecting stuff. Somebody had a booth of that out there for paranormal experiences. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Except for we'll get, and well, I'm one of them, so I shouldn't say. We'll get 800 amateur ghost detecting people out there looking for stuff then, but that's okay because, a lot of the ones that do that end up inviting you along to come do cool shit that you didn't, know existed. So that's
you never know when a fun, getting together with somebody and going and ghost searching is going to turn into you being arrested for trespassing. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, one of the guys in our Ghostbuster group that was there at ICT this weekend, he runs a local paranormal hunt group, and he's invited me to Cowtown and do stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. Even if nothing ever happens, it's just fun. It's kind of like going camping with friends. It's a cool thing to do. But yeah, most of the stuff I've been using is apps on phones, so it would be nice to learn some more equipment.
Yeah, they had it out there, man. I should have grabbed your card. I didn't even think of it. Sorry.
That's all right. I am quite certain my buddy Bob did, so I will ask him. Or if not, it's not like I'm not close friends with the guy who runs convention. I'll just say who had that, and he'll give me their info.
Oh yeah, good point.
And shout out to Rich Cathy who runs ICT Comic Con, because this weekend I own a 30-foot tall hot air balloon, and the blower went out on my hot air balloon, and he was nice enough to give me the blower for the Ren Fair from when I used to own the Ren Fair with him, and it's $500 piece of equipment that he's like, here, just take it, go support another festival. And so kudos to him for doing that. I appreciate it.
That was very
nice. But Recounter Society, they do a podcast, a gaming podcast. They go to festivals. They always share our podcast. And I don't always share their podcast.
Shame on you.
And it was brought up this weekend in a joking manner. And I was like, crap, you're right. Because I was trying to get them to join us on here. So we're going to probably get Big E come on here shortly. Come on, talk about their podcast, talk about performing and setting up festivals, different things that their group does as well. So, but I just want to give them a shout out. I will be putting a link on our podcast page sometime soon here today or tomorrow. So you guys go check out what they got going on. That was really it.
Most excellent. All right. But other than that, I think we're good. We're at an hour and 15 minutes if you don't count the first 20 minutes that didn't take.
We just say here. And that podcast was going beautiful. I was loving it.
It was great. It was the best we've ever done. But you know what the great thing is that it's still recorded.
It still did.
I still have it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you'll edit that together, right? Is that right?
No, I won't.
We edit. That's why we do it in this format, because we got so tired of 6 years of trying to edit stuff or get Frankie to do things, and it's so much easier just having Ash do all the work.
Yeah, exactly. So. And and I'm going to reiterate it again because I was talking about it with somebody earlier today. Dude, we need to take up the Burrow on their offer of us doing it there every once in a while.
And unfortunately, what has happened lately is we're just so busy. It is festival season. I mean, I've got a Ghostbuster event coming up here in a couple weeks. I'm going to do in like 2 weeks, so I'll be gone then. And then my wife's birthday, and then we got Great Plains Ren Fair, Riversons, Kansas City Ren Fair wanting us to come back and perform this fall. We've got what is after Riversons?
It's a good thing you're retiring.
Yeah, I know. I got 4 festivals in the next 5 weeks I got to do, and only weekend I don't have a festival.
This weekend, while we're doing the wine transfer and filtration and everything, we will bust our calendars out and see what we got going. Okay?
Good day to do that. Sounds good.
All right. In that case, everybody, thank you for joining us, and we will see you again maybe next week.
All right. Night, guys. Hugs and kisses.
Okay, and we are stopping.